Hi everybody, it's me, Willow, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm back with another film review for all of you guys today, and it is J. Kelly, which is the newest film from Noah Baumbach, who is a three-time Academy Award nominated director slash writer. He's been nominated for his Best Picture for Marriage Story, and then he was also nominated for the screenplay for Marriage Story, and then he was also nominated for the screenplay for Barbie alongside Greta Gerwig. So Jake Kelly is his newest film. He's teamed up with George Clooney and Adam Sandler. Greta Gerwig is also in this film, so still working alongside each other like they have been for quite some time now. So a lot of people have been kind of mixed on this film. I would say I'm pretty positive. I had a great time with it. I actually thought it was quite funny and pretty lighthearted, even though it deals with some more mature and darker subject matters. I feel like it's kind of talking about loneliness and whether you've made the right choices in your life, and a lot of like father related family issues as well is a big theme throughout the film. So I wouldn't necessarily say those are always lighthearted themes, but it's approached in a very comedic tone. So I had a great time with this. I thought it was really fun. I do think it was a little long. It is almost 2 hours and 30 minutes. So it does get a little bit long near the end. I did have to use the bathroom quite badly during my screening. So I was like, when is this going to be over? And if I'm being honest, I do like the ending, but I was hoping for maybe a little bit more. So I wouldn't say this is like my favorite film from 2025, but I definitely had highlights from it and overall had a fun time watching it. And it's been getting lots of like negative press, and people have not been like gravitating towards it since it's entered into the festival sphere in like August, September with like Telluride. It just hasn't garnered much press, and it's been doing its limited theatrical release right now, and I feel like nobody's been talking about it. And I'm hoping once it drops on Netflix on December 5th, I believe it's going, it will gain a little bit more momentum. That's what I've seen with Train Dreams. When I dropped my review for Train Dreams during its limited theatrical release, it did not gain much momentum at all. But now that it's dropped on Netflix, that review has started to pick up, and I've been hearing a lot more word of mouth about Train Dreams. So I'm hoping that kind of happens with Jay Kelly, because I really do love the performances in this film. I feel like it's written very well, and I'm a big like Hollywood watcher. So like I love the industry and learning about like the golden age of Hollywood. Like I've taken classes in university on Hollywood and society, and like I've literally taken a class on called Society in Hollywood. So I feel like I'm the perfect audience for this, and like I like films like Hail Caesar and Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and stuff like that. So like classic like Hollywood type films that are kind of talking about other actors, and like I love White Christmas and stuff like that. So this is kind of up in my alley of the things that I enjoy. A lot of people have been saying they think George Clooney's performance is basically him just playing himself, and I'd like to say on the contrary, I actually don't think so. I feel like this is him pulling from other characters. Like it's very obvious that he is influenced by like Robert De Niro and Cary Grant and all these other famous, actors of our time, and he does like a whole like kind of like monologue at one point where he's referencing himself, Jake Kelly, with these other famous actors. And I feel like that's what he was trying to gravitate towards, and picking up on those ego like male performers, not necessarily saying Cary Grant or Robert De Niro are ego performers, but that kind of like status symbol that those actors are, and how they held during their prime time in Hollywood. And that's what Jay Kelly is supposed to be, this coming up actor who was in his like 20s, 30s, and then he's had this full-fledged career. And like I guess you can kind of compare that to George Clooney, but I kind of felt like and I don't know, I guess George Clooney was kind of like an action star. I feel like he was more of like a just like a movie star, and I think that's what they're trying to get with Jake Kelly too, but I feel like they were trying to emphasize that he did do a lot of action as well. So, I don't know, like I just feel like George Clooney has such a different personality than what Jake Kelly has in the film. So, I really appreciated that even though maybe it is kind of similar, he was playing a different character. Like, I didn't see George Clooney, I saw Jake Kelly in the role. Earlier this year, I watched George Clooney on Broadway from the live stream that they aired on CNN of his performance of Good Night and Good Luck. I thought that was a terrific performance from everybody in that cast, but George Clooney just delivers a tremendous like on stage presence in that performance, and just comparing it to this role is very dynamic, and seeing him be able to do such vastly different characters and do like an on stage performance and then do this like traditional film performance. So I'm very impressed by George Clooney with him not being in the spotlight for so long and coming back on stage and behind the film in both like in the same year. So I'm very impressed by him, and I really do love this performance. I think very similar to Julia Roberts. I was a big fan of her in After the Hunt. I also really enjoyed After the Hunt. I think I do like After the Hunt more than this film, but for like other reasons, like they're just completely different films. But I feel like people have not been giving her praise, and similar to George Clooney, I feel like George Clooney will be able to pick up some maybe prerequisites at like Golden Globes and maybe SAG, and like we'll see about Critics' Choice, but I really do enjoy his performance. I do agree with most people in that Adam Sandler is the standout in this film. I love when Adam Sandler does a serious role like this. I am very impressed with what he gives in this film. He delivers terrific monologues, so much emotion, and the type of father that I would have killed for. And again, like the whole father theme, I just think showing him compared to Jay Kelly, Ron, this very attentive father who really wants to be super active in his family's life, and he's being pulled away because of Jay Kelly and his other clients. And does that make him actually any really different than Jay Kelly just because he's on the phone? He still is very distant, and he's not like saying goodbye to his son because he's afraid that's going to cause like emotional damage. And I really do love this like complexity and dissecting these different father figures, and even going as far as looking at Jay Kelly's father played by Stacy Keach. I love that character, and getting to see either we know we fight so hard to be different from our parents that we either destroy them or we like emulate them in the end. And I feel like that was just entirely present in this film, is that Jay was trying to distance himself so much from his father that he ended up becoming his father towards his daughter. Like he wasn't active in his daughter's life at all, and either of his daughter's life. So I really am intrigued by this, and like we can also even look at like Billy Crudup's character and how he's a child psychologist and playing into that role as well, and Riley Keough's therapist Carter kind of being a replacement father figure for Jay. Like very, very interesting. All of the different father figures in this. Even Ben Alcock, played by Patrick Wilson, and his kind of posturing of a father, and how he's very attentive in his family's life, but he's on his second marriage, so it's kind of implied that maybe his first marriage and the kids in his first marriage maybe do not have the same level of care that his second marriage, second family does. So really do love this dissection of fatherhood through all the different lenses of all these different male characters, and showing, you know what, maybe all of these men are kind of actually all on the same level, and one of them isn't better than the other one. They're all lacking in the father feel in several different ways, but making up for it in different ways as well. So I really do love that. I think that was my favorite part of the whole Jay Kelly film, was the father lens and getting to see how our fathers affect us, and how, we can only try the best we can with our children, and that our children, again, have to either, they're going to repeat the cycle, or they're going to try and end that generational curse and do better than our prerequisites. So I really do love that cycle, and how Noah Baumbach's able to illustrate that in his script and through his directing, with Adam Sandler, with George Clooney, with Patrick Wilson, with Stacy Keach. I think he does a fantastic job with this father lens. We don't just get a father lens, we also get a little bit of a mother lens. It's more to the side. I think it's more of kind of like a parent lens with Laura Dern's character, and how she's just like had it with Jay Kelly and all of the bullshit that she puts up with him, flying back and forth, missing out on important meetings with a Vanity Fair, and helping the press with her other clients because she has to fly to the other side of the world because of a last minute change in Jay's schedule. So I really do think her communication, her one big scene on the train with Adam, is so good. I really wish she had maybe one or two more scenes as strong as that. And I feel like she would be a really big name for supporting actress this year. I don't think the character of Liz has that much gravitas besides that one scene to really push her any further in the awards race. Maybe I'll be wrong, but she is Laura Dern. She does have her Oscar already for supporting from a Noah Baumbach film, so who knows? But I don't think she has, like I said, that oomph with this character. But I do like the perspective of her as a mom and how she's always on the go. And similar to her character with Adam, she's missing out on these monumental moments with her children at home, and she's also missed out on monumental moments of her own life. With Adam Sandler's character Ron, it's mentioned that they did have a romantic relationship in the past, and because of Jay Kelly, they have not been able to keep their relationship alive, and they've just been strictly professionals and kind of like friends maybe on the side, but there is still that unrequited love between these two. And it's actually like very sad that these two maybe would have had a very successful relationship if Jay Kelly and this like dominant career wasn't overtaking both of their lives. Maybe they would have this passion and love and peace in their lives if they didn't have this chaos that was Hollywood surrounding it. So I really do like that lens. I also think we get a little bit with the Greta Gerwig character as well. She mentions that she is solo parenting all by herself, even though she does have a very attentive and loving husband. He is flying off last minute to France, Italy, and what is he doing there? He's with his long lost love. And is he being entirely faithful? I would say he is pretty faithful, but it seems like he does have this unrequited love for Liz. And she's all the way back in LA, taking care of their young son who has some emotional, like, it seems like he has some detachment issues with his father being gone for work so much. He doesn't really understand that abandonment so much. So she's dealing with that heaviness. And then she's also dealing with their eldest child who has a lot of anxiety and stress related issues as she sees her father cope with all of these stressful situations. She's kind of feeding off that stress. So Greta Gerwig's character is dealing with all of this. She's also dealing with the stress from her husband and having to be that like middle factor in the relationship and try and be a mediator. So really do think this whole parenting lens is really interesting. Obviously, Noah Baumbach has dealt with that before with Marriage Story, so I like how he's dealt with that again in J. Kelly. I really do find the whole parenting, mother, father lens really, really intriguing in this narrative, and I think it's really strong. I think maybe they could have fleshed out the mother storyline a little bit more. Feel like they kind of just threw in Greta Gerwig's character just because she's Greta Gerwig, and I wish they kind of fleshed that out a little bit more, especially with what happens with Ron and Liz on the train. And even though I feel like maybe that was giving them closure finally for the relationship, I do think that is a very interesting lens with the fact that he is married and seems very happy and content with his marriage and his family, but has this like unrequited love for Liz. So I wish they maybe dived a bit more into that. I feel like that was kind of ended a little bit quickly, and that's why I wish we had a bit more from Laura Dern. And I think that's my one big criticism, is that I wish that storyline was dealt with a little bit more and had a bit more of a complete ending, because I found it very, very intriguing and it just kind of ended all of a sudden, and I would have liked a little bit more development. Now, as an eldest daughter with daddy issues, I can say that I definitely related to the Riley Keough character, Jessica. I really do, like, again, kind of tying into the father lens, the father-daughter relationship with Jessica versus Daisy, and how Jay's really trying to save his relationship with Daisy before it's too late, but I think it is kind of too late. Like, she is independent, and I really did like the line in the film how, unfortunately, as a parent, it like you are basically going to become irrelevant in your child's life, and that's how you know that you've succeeded as a parent, is that they've become independent and they no longer need you. And that makes you just feel so void as a person, because that's what you did your whole life, was this parent role and wanting to protect your child and make them feel safe and prepare them for the world. And you kind of have to take that step back and realize, I have to let them make their own mistakes. And I think that's what Jay realizes with Daisy, is that he made so many mistakes with Jessica and he doesn't want to make the same mistakes with Daisy, but he has to learn that Jessica and Daisy are their own people. He's made the mistakes. If he wanted to be that attentive father, he should have stayed home. He should have not picked his career of being an actor. He should have picked the career of being a father. He should have gotten a regular 9 to 5 job. He shouldn't have been traveling all the time. Or he could have put more effort in, similar to Ben Alcock in his second marriage, and how he has this caravan of like 4 different cars filled with everybody in his family, all of his friends, everybody that means something to him is in his caravan, and he travels with them all around the world. So again, I think playing into this idea of what type of father, what type of man do you want to be? Do you pick the career that fulfills you, the thing that would have been right for you? I think that I really make that distinction as well, is that Jay picked the right path for him. He was incredibly successful. He achieved what he wanted as a young 20 something, to be the star, to get these roles, to bring meaning to people's lives. But to his daughter's lives, he didn't pick the right path. So I really do love what Noah is trying to communicate with this film. I don't know if it always achieves what it wants. Like I said, in the end, I think it does kind of wrap up a little bit too quickly, with not everything, wrapped up how I would have like appreciated. I wish we got a little bit of development, especially with how long the film is, and I feel like there are some teetering off points, but I really do love that relationship of the father daughter trying to navigate what type of parent, what type of person you want to be. I also think it's very interesting trying to navigate like this friendship, working relationship between like Adam Sandler and his clients. And we also see this like with Laura Dern and Jay. That's kind of like the catalyst of her character, and the choices that she makes are this relationship of they want to treat you like your friend, and you also, as like a manager or a PR person, you feel like you know your client better than anybody in the world, and that's probably entirely true. You know every little detail about them, so you feel like you know your personal, your family, your friend, but you are taking that like 10% cut. So deep down, the client's never actually going to fully maybe trust you. They'll always know that you're taking something from them and you're in it for the game. You're in it for the job. You're not in it for the personal friend relationship. So I really like how they're commenting on that as well. And I think that is such like a tricky line. I feel like they did that really well with the Adam Sandler Ron character, and how he's on this tightrope of dealing with Jay Kelly, who's this really big and demanding client, but then he also has other clients that, they still mean a lot to him, and they pay his bills and help him be this meaningful person in the business. Like, he relies on these clients even though he's doing all the behind the scenes work. So I really do like stripping it back, getting to see, the PR, the management, these people's lives and the stress that they endure, and what their families also have to face with their, parental figures, their breadwinners being gone for such long periods of time and having to just change up things on the fly, like not being able to finish your tennis tournament that you've been waiting for months with your daughter, having to forfeit it because your client has a blow up. I really do think that is so fascinating, but I also think looking in at the artist's life and seeing how they are so big in the world, everybody is praising them. They're getting awards left, right, and center, but they can be the loneliest person in the world, and they have failed all of their personal relationships, and they are completely alone except for the people that they pay to be around them. So I really, really do like this film. I think it's pretty fantastic. I give it a 4 star out of 5 on Letterboxd. I do think it's pretty strong, but like I said, I do have a couple criticisms about it that I think are pretty valid. I also think the cinematography is very beautiful in this film. I was able to see it on the big screen during its limited theatrical release. So I'm so grateful that I was able to see this beautiful French and Italian countryside, like so gorgeous. All these different like villas that they are like vacationing on during Jay's like excursion towards the awards ceremony and chasing after his daughter. I really do think it's gorgeous. There's like this one scene between Jay and Ron after Ron's trying to like leave in this taxi. They get out and they're on the countryside in Italy, and it's just breathtaking. It's like all of these like blue sky, green fields, and it's just gorgeous. Like such a beautiful scene, and it's so like shot in like such a great aspect ratio as well. Like I really like how they're like far away shots and they're just showing all of the background, all of the individual. I also really like how Jay Kelly is in white for a good portion of the film. So there's this one scene where Jay Kelly's running through the woods and it's like dark at night and there's all this fog. It's kind of like magical, almost like fantastical, and he's completely in white, and it's just really interesting, this like stark contrast between like the dark night with him all in white. I really do like that scene as well. I think it's captured really intriguingly. And yeah, overall, I think this film is very beautiful cinematography wise, narrative wise. I did get emotional once or twice. I didn't shed any tears, but I did get a little bit emotional with Jay and seeing the complexity of his life and how he feels like he's not sure if he's actually achieved the greatness that the world seems that he has. So yeah, I really enjoyed this film. I'm glad that I was able to go see it in the cinema. It was so worth it. I really did have a fun time with it. I think I'll probably give it a rewatch once it hits Netflix in December, and I'd highly suggest you guys give it a watch if it's playing near you guys in the cinema or on Netflix once it drops. I really do think it's a fun film. Like I said, plays on some comedic chops, but also has some more serious commentary in it as well. I'll be interested to see where this kind of places in the awards season. We have had the Astor nomination and the Critic Choice nominations, and it has been there in actor, screenplay, and best picture in a couple places. So I'll be intrigued to see, like Golden Globes, SAG, what happens there, and also, of course, Academy Awards. I feel like George Clooney is kind of outside of my Best Actor 5 right now. I feel like he could get in at Golden Globes, and I don't know about SAG just because I feel like people haven't been loving the film from what I've been hearing, but I have heard some positive praise for the film as well too. So I don't know. I think more people just have to go out and see it, and I'd like to see, where the audience leans more now that we're more into the award season and not so much in the fall festival season anymore. I do have Adam Sandler in my Best Supporting Actor lineup still. I've had him in there, I think, the entire time. And I would agree, after seeing his performance, I do think it's really strong. And I think he could come away with this nomination in multiple places. I also think, like I said, the cinematography is really pretty. I do like the costuming in it as well, but I am not so sure about that. But I do think screenplay is pretty strong. Like I said, I really do like the narrative and the different lenses that we're looking at parenthood, fathering, and motherhood. So I would like to see it in screenplay. I also think the commenting on looking behind the scenes at an actor and also like our management and PR teams, I like that lens as well. So I think it's a really strong screenplay. So I would like to see it nominated alongside with Best Supporting Actor. I feel like those are my two nominations that I would give it personally. I like those the most. So we will see where it goes with, awards season, but I do think it's a pretty strong film, but there are stronger films out there, so I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't get like too many, doesn't like over surprised with nominations. I feel like maybe it'll get like one or two, or maybe we won't see it at all. So if you've had the chance to see Jay Kelly, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. If they differ from mine, or if you agree with me, comment down below. I always try and look at all the comments and reply back to you guys. So let's have a conversation. While you're at it, give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed my review, and hit the subscribe button and post notification while you're at it. I post multiple times a week here on YouTube with pop culture related videos and film reviews and awards predictions. So if you love that type of content, make sure you hit the post notification button so you don't miss out on anything when I post. I'm also on other social media apps like TikTok, the Awards Expert app, and also Letterboxd. My username is Willow D Steele on all of those platforms, so go give me a follow. Thank you guys so much for interacting and engaging on my YouTube channel and my other social medias. Really helps to push me out in the algorithm and meet other like-minded cinema folks like you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining my video today. I really appreciate all of you guys being here. And until next time, keep getting lost in film. Bye, guys.